Hello, I am Azrael Kirby, and this is my submission for Planet Zoldath. So, Planet Zoldath is one of the 50 indie games created in UFO 50, set of indie games, or a set of 50 games created by various indie developers such as the creator of Spelunky and Downwell and others. Planet Zoldath, one of these 50 games, is essentially it's trying to take the style of Zelda randomizers and make it as its own actual game. So you're dropped into a world. You have to find 3 map pieces throughout the map in order to escape the planet, and everything is randomized. So, for example, these two, you may have noticed me talking to the scorpions and these leggy type enemies. These are both NPCs, but those are random. Sometimes they're actual enemies that can kill you. So everything is random. The map layout is randomized. The room types are randomized. Different drops are randomized, everything. So, we have to figure out where the map cards are. One of them I've already seen. One of the NPCs offered me 16 diamonds for one of the map cards. One of them will always be behind a trade. And so I've got that one out of the way. And that's a hard one, because now we need to know what type of material we need. We need to get as many diamonds as we can get. Now, one of them, the scorpions, we can't actually talk to them. They require the translator, one of the items we can find, which we haven't found any of the items yet. So we're going around the map looking for items. We're also looking for what we call progression gates. So you may have noticed on the bottom of this map, there was a little hole in the wall. We can sneak through that hole and find something behind it. That's a type of progression gate. It requires an item to get past. You may have also noticed that there were 2 brown bits of the material on inside a big swamp. That's also a progression gate. There are 4 on the map. One of them holds a map card. One of them holds a dungeon, which itself contains a map card. One of them contains 2 of the rarest material, and which one that is random. And one of them contains another item. So the snail is another one. The snail blocks your path and deals 3 damage whenever you pass by it. But you can lure it out of the way using the meat printer, that item I just picked up. If you place down a piece of meat, it'll lure the snail away. So you may have noticed, as I went past the snail, there was this little doorway. That's the entrance to the dungeon. So now I know where one of the map cards is. I know that one of them is through the dungeon. However, I don't have any weapons yet, so I don't have any way to kill the enemies. I want to kill the enemies both so I can survive and so I can start getting their drops. I need to start getting those diamonds. And there we go. There's these blocks. This is another progression gate. These are being blocked. I have to blow them up with the bomb. And there we go. Now I've gotten one of the 3 map cards. So I already know all 4 progression gates. There was that for the map card. There was the snail behind the dungeon. There were the 2 browns behind the swamp. And at the very bottom, there's the hole in the wall, which I can use this gun. I just got the Metamorpher. I like to call it the Morph gun to get past. So now I'm just getting the last parts of the map because I've almost explored everything. There's another item there, which I may need later. And I keep that in my mind, maybe even write it down sometimes. And now I'm like, okay, now I need to make my path to get everything. So now I've explored almost the entire map at this point. Basically right below, if I went right and down, there's the ship I started with. So I've explored everything, I know everything, now I need to get everything. I got one of the map cards, so I need 2 things. I need diamonds in order to, get the trade, and I need a proper weapon. Now, the Morph Gun, while it can help me defend against enemies, it can't really help me get drops just by itself, because what it does is it turns enemies into, like, another type of enemy. So, it turns them into this little chicken enemy, which means I can't actually get their drops unless I kill them. So I need a proper weapon, and I'm now, because I know what's behind all the other 3 progression gates, I know that there's an item behind this wall. There it is, it's the nail gun, it's one of my weapons. And I realize I need to drop the meat printer back here, because this will be useful for later, potentially, depending on other things in this seed. So I go to get this, and now this can be particularly useful, because I know that I needed 16 diamonds. That tells me what rarity the diamonds are, and there's a neat little thing. Whenever you kill these morphed enemies, which you can see here, they always drop the same material, which is the 2nd rarest material, in this case the diamonds. So having both a morph gun and a weapon is very useful for me here, because now I can farm diamonds. Now I also want to know their normal drops too. There's a chance I might need it for another trade, and I also want to know what the which enemy drops the healing item. One of the enemies will drop a healing item at random, so I need to know which enemy that is in case I need to heal later. Sometimes an item gets stuck in the wall, but we can morph gun ourselves. That's how we got through that hole in the wall to begin with. And that can help us sneak through and get those items. Now, I'm not killing every enemy along the way, because I know there's going to be several enemies in the dungeon that I can use to get more diamonds with my morph gun. So, I'm killing like one of each type of enemy, so I'm like, okay, this drops purple, this isn't what I need. But if I need purples later, I'll know that I can kill the snakes for it. But once I know, I start using the morph gun instead. So I already know these guys don't drop what I want, so I'm just killing them. I accidentally used my last shot with the nail gun there. I took some damage, but that's why I'm looking for the health guy already. Tried to see if that guy would walk out, he did not. But anyway, I'm taking the nail, I'm going back to the dungeon, which was on the top left corner of the map. And now I know those guys actually do drop diamonds, because I've killed every other type of enemy. And of the attacking enemies, one drops three of them drop one of the material, and there's the healing item, that's what I need. Actually, now I know that guy drops the diamond. Because other than the rarest material, one enemy will drop one of each of the three types that isn't the rarest, and the last enemy will drop the meat of the ones that aren't the friendly NPCs. So, I know this guy going to drop diamond, I'm going to see that later. And also, oh, there's the guy that can heal me. Hopefully I can kill him, get some health back, though he damaged me in the process. I know this guy drops diamond, so I'm going to go and kill him, and I can actually use my nail gun for it. But some enemies also drop swamp when they explode, which would damage you as you walk over it. You may notice I tanked some health earlier in the run in order to get an extra health piece. And that's unfortunate, but that's fine. I can still use the nail gun. And luckily, if I do kill them with the nail gun, they actually won't... Or if I kill them with the morph gun, they won't drop swamp. So that'll be useful for later. I'm getting a lot of diamonds. I have 7, and I need 16 in total that the one NPC told me I needed for his map card. You may notice I'm having to morph gun a lot because the enemies like push themselves on the wall. And also, you may notice there, I walked into the room, there's the map card, but I have to go back because there's a pit. So sometimes these dungeons also have additional checks in them, additional progression gates that require more items. I didn't need any, there weren't any progression gates up until this point in the dungeon. So I was able to just walk through it cleanly, but I may have needed to, like I might have found another hole in the wall, I might have found another snail, I might have found more swamp, or the other types of gates for the other types of items. In this case, what I got was a pit at the end of the dungeon, and what I need is the boomerang. I need to get the boomerang so that I can, just like in Zelda, throw the boomerang over the pit to get the map card. So I'm like, okay, how do I get that? Well, I know that one of the NPCs offered me to sell it for 4 brown, which is the rarest material. So I need to find a way to get 4 brown. Well, luckily, I have a bunch of things to help with that. Even, there's an item that lets me walk over the swamp without taking damage, but I haven't found that yet. It's probably behind one of the trades with the translator, but I don't want to take that many steps, so I have a lot of other strategies we can use to get the rarest material, the browns as well, because I can't actually get those from enemies because they're the rarest material. The NPCs have a chance to, like the friendly ones, but none of them did here. Now I almost have enough diamonds for the map card, so as soon as I get the diamonds, I can swap out the morph gun, because I won't need diamonds anymore. So I can actually swap it with a boomerang or something else. Wait, in this case, I'm thinking I want to use the meat printer, because I have 2 strategies with the meat printer I can use to get the browns I need for the boomerang. So right now I'm going to make the trade, and then I'm going to go find where I dropped the meat printer. The one I used to get the snail out of the way earlier. There's more uses for each items. They often have more than one use each, both as utility and progression gates and other things. So there's 2 things I can do here. 1, the meat printer spawns meat, the healing item. But if you spawn meat on swamp, it actually summons this mosquito enemy, which will always drop 2 of the rarest resource, which is pretty useful. But you have to use a resource to use the meat printer, and I knew that it used purple, so I made sure also to get enough purples while I was doing this. As well, because the meat printer drops the meat that I can heal, I can actually tank the damage from the swamp in order to get those 2 browns, and now suddenly I have all 4 browns I needed. It's the rarest material, and I already got 4 of them that quick, using 2 different strategies with the meat printer. 1 to tank damage, 1 to summon that mosquito guy. So now I'm going back up top, because I do remember where the trade is. It's on my way back to the dungeon anyway, which is very useful. So I need to make my way back up to the top of the map so I can go trade the 4 browns for the boomerang, because I need the boomerang to get that map card in the dungeon. And again, this is all randomized. This is all stuff I'm having to figure out on the fly because everything in this game is randomized. So, I'm on my way to the dungeon, and I'm like, okay, I know I can get through the dungeon now. All I have to do is survive. I'm hoping to get another enemy with meat so I can heal the bit of damage I've taken, but that shouldn't be too hard. The dungeon is full of enemies. So I have to make my way through, and at this point I'm like, okay, the seed is won. I just have to not die, and I'll be fine. So I can get the last map card, and then I make my way back to my ship. So this is how this game plays. You go through the game, you have to explore the map, find different items, use those items to get past different walls, both in order to make a trade to get a map card, by getting materials, by killing enemies, and by getting through the walls to find a map card or a dungeon. And every game is randomized, which means every game plays different. But unlike a lot of other randomizers, it's actually really short to Zoldath. You may notice, like, yeah, I'm almost through the game already. It in an average playthrough, if you're speedrunning it at a top level, could take on average between 8 to 12 minutes. That is the average for a Zoldath run. There's a lot of things to do in that run. It's very dense with strategies and mapping and routing and figuring out what we're doing on the fly, figuring out different strategies. And there's a lot of hidden techniques. There's a lot of techniques to do different things. Like you saw, the meat printer can both lure a snail away from its wall, from where it's hiding. It can use it to get meat to heal yourself, which means you can take damage, and you can also summon the mosquitoes when you use it on swamp. Each item has multiple uses like this. So the boomerang is a weapon that can kill enemies, but it can also grab items, which can save a lot of time. You can also grab map cards with the boomerang. Sometimes you can cheese getting certain map cards with it. There's a lot of hidden strategies beneath the layer of Planet Zoldath. Despite it being a relatively small game, there's a lot of depth to the mechanics that allow for a very interesting speedrun. I like to speedrun a 5 times. I do five runs in a row, see how fast I can do it, because it's helped me get this consistency and build these strategies in order to beat the game. And I'm coming up on the end right here, just under 12 minutes, which is even the high end, but it was very dense with strategies. So that's the run. That's this Planet Zoldath run. I'd love if you accepted this game in this marathon, because I love Planet Zoldath. There's so much fun with this game and how to play it. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.